In this video, I'm about to show you 40 smart TVs you should never buy and exactly why, along with 10 high-quality options that are truly worth every penny, starting with number 40, Element Smart TVs. Element Smart TVs look affordable, but their internal hardware is built on some of the weakest components in the budget TV market. Most models use low-grade VA panels sourced from multiple factories, creating an extreme panel lottery. One unit has tolerable brightness, the next has washed-out colors, clouding, and uneven backlight zones that you can never fix. One of Element's biggest flaws is its slow T-Con board, which controls pixel response. When it lags, the screen produces ghost trails during motion, making sports and gaming nearly unwatchable. Their power supplies are also known for thermal creep, where prolonged heat slowly degrades internal capacitors. Many users report TVs refusing to boot after less than 2 years. Software is no better. Firmware updates often fail mid-installation, soft bricking the device. Wi-Fi modules are old 2.4 GHz chips that drop connection whenever multiple devices are active in your home. Worst of all, many Element models have extremely weak HDMI ports, and a tiny shift in cable pressure can cause flickering or port death. Number 39. ON Smart TV. Walmart's ON Smart TVs are incredibly inexpensive, but the price reflects brutal cost-cutting. Their biggest issue is chronic backlight failures caused by low-quality LED strips that overheat and dim unevenly within months. Once a strip burns out, the repair often costs more than the TV itself. ON also suffers from underpowered processors, usually outdated quad-core chips that can't handle modern streaming apps smoothly. This leads to freezing, UI stutter, and apps randomly closing. Google TV or Roku OS feels painfully slow because the hardware simply can't support the software. Audio is another weakness. Their micro-sized speakers create harsh treble distortion at normal volumes and no real bass response. A major hidden problem is firmware instability. Updates frequently glitch, triggering boot loops where the TV restarts endlessly. Some units even wipe user data after random resets. Connectivity is equally fragile. The Wi-Fi antenna is so weak that the TV struggles to maintain stable streaming even a few meters from the router. Between backlight burnouts, weak processing power, unstable firmware, and fragile Wi-Fi, ON TVs deliver the illusion of value without any long-term dependability. Number 38. Scepter Smart TVs. Scepter Smart TVs are known for offering big screen sizes at low prices, but the trade-offs are steep. Their displays often use low refresh 50 to 55 Hz panels, which produce heavy motion blur and smearing during fast scenes. This makes action movies, sports, and gaming look noticeably streaky. Brightness is another major limitation. Many Scepter models barely reach 200 to 230 nits, far below modern standards, causing dull images and making daytime viewing nearly impossible. Color accuracy is inconsistent due to cheap edge-lit backlighting that creates strong vignetting and light bleed. Internally, Scepter TVs often ship with unshielded power boards, making them more vulnerable to electrical noise and early component degradation. Ports are another weak point. Scepter's HDMI inputs frequently develop handshake issues where the TV refuses to detect external devices unless rebooted. Software is painfully outdated. Many models don't run a true smart OS, and those that do rely on old Linux builds with zero long-term updates, exposing the system to security vulnerabilities. Scepter may look appealing on the shelf, but beneath the low price lies poor panel quality, old hardware, and unreliable connectivity. Number 37. Insignia. Insignia's budget smart TVs are built on an unusual cost-cutting architecture. Multi-vendor component sourcing, meaning a single model may contain different screens, power boards, and tuners, depending on the batch. This creates massive inconsistency. One consumer gets decent contrast, another receives a unit with dull grayscale and uneven luminance. A major hidden flaw is Insignia's heat spread system, which uses a small aluminum plate instead of a proper thermal shield. As the TV warms up, the heat concentrates around the voltage regulator area, slowly warping internal solder points. This leads to intermittent blackouts, where the screen fades to dark for a few seconds before returning. Their motion handling is also weak because many units ship with 60 Hz panels locked at 5:5 pull-down, creating jitter during films and robotic motion during panning shots. Input response is slowed by Insignia's software layer stacking, where Fire OS runs on top of a minimal Linux build, resulting in delayed menu navigation and long wake-up times. Even the USB ports struggle, as they provide low amperage, causing external devices like streaming sticks or drives to disconnect randomly. Insignia's budget line looks convenient, but its inconsistent components, heat issues, and unstable I/O performance make it a high-risk buy. Number 36. Westinghouse Smart TVs. Westinghouse Smart TVs suffer from an overlooked engineering problem: poor optical bonding between the LCD panel and backlight layers. This weak adhesion leads to micro-separation over time, causing shimmering when the screen displays bright whites and random sparkle-like artifacts across uniform colors. The brand also uses low-grade timing controllers, T-Con boards, that occasionally desynchronize with the panel, resulting in split-second image tearing, something most users mistake for internet lag, but is actually hardware drift. A big disadvantage is Westinghouse's limited color processing pipeline. Many models only support an 8-bit panel with pseudo-dithering, producing crushed shadows and posterization in gradients. You'll notice harsh color steps instead of smooth detail in sunsets, skin tones, or foggy scenes. The audio system is equally compromised. Westinghouse uses sealed plastic speaker chambers with no internal damping materials, causing buzzing at mid-volume and severe hollowness in dialogue-heavy shows. Their smart interface feels outdated because it relies on static memory caching, which fills up over time and slows the entire TV down until a full factory reset. Number 35. Hisense Budget Line. Hisense's budget line has a major hidden disadvantage: sub-pixel layout variation. Some models use RGB, others RGBW, and some use a hybrid panel layout. RGBW panels remove a color subpixel to cut cost, causing text to appear fuzzy, whites to look bluish, and sharpness to collapse when viewed up close, especially noticeable during gaming or reading menus. Another issue is Hisense's inconsistent local dimming emulation, a software trick designed to mimic dimming zones despite having none. While the TV tries to simulate contrast, it ends up creating flickering halos around subtitles and bright objects. Hisense also uses low-capacity eMMC storage, which wears out quickly. After months of app installs and updates, the TV becomes sluggish or fails to load key apps entirely because the storage can no longer write properly. The Wi-Fi chipset on cheaper Hisense models is an old single antenna design, causing unstable throughput during 4K streaming or screen mirroring. Finally, the motion system lacks proper frame interpolation control, producing microstutter during simple camera pans. Number 34. TCL 3 Series. The TCL 3 Series looks tempting because of its price, but the technology inside is extremely compromised. The biggest hidden issue is its extremely narrow 45 to 55% rec 709 color coverage, which means the panel physically cannot display many shades. Skin tones often look grayish or waxy, and greens and reds appear flat because the color filters are the cheapest in TCL's lineup. The 3 Series also relies on pulse width modulation dimming at low frequencies, which causes flicker that can trigger eye strain or headaches during long viewing sessions, especially in darker rooms. Gaming performance is weak due to the high input lag, often crossing 40 to 50 milliseconds, causing a noticeable delay between controller movement and on-screen action. A major flaw comes from TCL's use of minimal processing chips, which struggle with motion interpolation. Even simple camera pans introduce microjudder because the processor can't render transitions fast enough. Wi-Fi modules are also outdated, 1x, 1 antennas, making the TV drop from 1080p streaming to blurry SD whenever bandwidth fluctuates even slightly. Number 33. RCA Smart TVs. RCA Smart TVs suffer from an old-school hardware architecture that most modern brands abandoned years ago. The most serious flaw is their primitive image processing chain, which lacks proper noise reduction and upscaling. As a result, 720p or 1080p content looks grainy, blocky, and soft, even when the source quality is good. Their panels often use aging Asahi amorphous silicon technology, meaning slow pixel response and muddy transitions whenever objects move. This creates a dragging effect that's very noticeable in sports or animated scenes. The power supply design is another risk. RCA uses low-tolerance capacitors that degrade faster under heat. After several months of daily use, many units develop symptoms like random shutdowns, screen dimming, or spontaneous restarts. Audio quality is compromised by front-facing but hollow speaker enclosures, causing echo-like distortion at medium volume. The Smart platform is also outdated, often lacking support for modern app versions. Some apps simply stop working because RCA doesn't update its firmware regularly. RCA TVs may be cheap, but their obsolete panel design, weak processing chain, and unreliable power boards make them one of the most problematic budget brands today. Number 32. Philips Budget Smart TVs. Philips premium Ambilight models are solid, but their budget smart TV line is a completely different story. One of the biggest hidden issues is their overscan lock, where the screen crops the edges of the image and refuses to disable overscan in certain apps or HDMI inputs. This results in missing subtitles, cutoff menus, and distorted aspect ratios. Their cheapest lines also use low-power ARM processors that cannot handle Android TV smoothly. The interface hesitates, freezes during app switching, and sometimes fails to load the home screen without a reboot. Philips budget models also suffer from weak anti-reflective coatings, causing extreme glare. Even moderate lighting produces mirror-like reflections, washing out the entire picture during daytime viewing. The LED backlighting suffers from edge blooming, not just around bright objects but across large patches of the screen, making dark scenes look milky. HDMI ports often run on older 1.4 standards, limiting 4K functionality and creating handshake issues with newer consoles or streaming boxes. Number 31. JVC Smart TVs. The original JVC engineering teams don't make modern JVC Smart TVs. Most units come from contract factories using generic display hardware. The biggest hidden problem is their low bit depth panels, which simulate colors using harsh temporal dithering. This creates noisy textures, flickering gradients, and shimmering around fine details. Input handling is equally weak. JVC uses single-lane HDMI controllers, which struggle with high bandwidth signals from consoles or streaming boxes. This results in random black screens, or a no-signal overlay when switching refresh rates. A bigger concern is the panel's weak polarizer layer, which easily develops rainbow streaks when exposed to pressure or heat. Even cleaning the screen with mild pressure can leave permanent marks. JVC's Smart OS, depending on region, is typically built on old Android forks with minimal optimization. Apps freeze, remote commands lag, and memory fills rapidly due to tiny internal storage. Wi-Fi chipsets are one-by-one low-power modules that frequently desync during 4K streaming. JVC's classic name suggests reliability, but the modern rebranded budget TVs suffer from weak polarizers, limited color depth, and unstable HDMI controllers, making them far from dependable. Number 30. Magnavox Smart TVs. Magnavox Smart TVs rely heavily on legacy LCD modules sourced from discontinued product lines. These panels often use older IPS variants with poor contrast ratios, causing blacks to appear light gray and shadows to lose detail entirely. One unusual flaw is Magnavox's sluggish frame timing pipeline. During motion, the TV struggles to align frame timing with backlight pulses, creating double edges on moving objects, most noticeable in news tickers and sports. The power system is another weakness. Magnavox uses voltage regulators with wide tolerance ranges, meaning voltage fluctuates under load. This leads to brightness pulsing during action scenes and occasional dim flashes. Their Smart OS is extremely bare bones, often missing key streaming apps and offering no meaningful updates. Because the system runs on underclocked processors, even basic navigation feels sticky or delayed. Audio uses shallow speakers with no acoustic chambering, producing tinny, flat sound lacking mid-range clarity. Number 29. Haier Smart TVs. Haier Smart TVs suffer from an architectural flaw. They use low-precision gamma calibration, causing severe brightness compression. Midtones look muddy, face tones lose depth, and highlights clip abruptly. This makes HDR content nearly unwatchable, because the panel cannot map luminance properly. The motion system is also problematic. Haier uses frame skipping compensation, where the TV skips frames instead of interpolating them. This causes tiny hiccups during panning shots, giving a stuttery or uneven look even at 60 Hz. Internally, Haier's backlight uses low-speed LED drivers, creating visible flicker at lower brightness levels. Sensitive users may notice eye strain or subtle pulsing while browsing menus. The Smart OS is stripped down and often lacks official certification for certain apps, meaning some major streaming platforms either don't exist or run outdated versions. Connectivity is unstable due to loose RF shielding inside the housing, which allows interference between Wi-Fi and Bluetooth modules. Number 28. Polaroid Smart TVs. Polaroid Smart TVs face a major problem almost no consumers know about: unstable edge bonding adhesives inside the LCD stack. When the TV heats up, these adhesives expand unevenly, causing subtle panel warping. Over time, this creates wavy vertical shadows and localized brightness patches that worsen month by month. Their panels often use cheaper RGBW subpixel arrangements, removing a color subpixel to cut costs. This makes text appear frayed and fine detail blurry, especially in 4K models. The software layer is outdated and relies on low-memory Linux builds with almost no cache space, causing apps to crash or reload frequently. Another weakness lies in the TV's PWM dimming at extremely low frequencies, producing visible stutter when brightness changes mid-scene. Even USB ports are unreliable. Polaroid uses weak 5 volts regulators that fail under load, causing USB drives or streaming sticks to disconnect randomly. Overall, Polaroid TVs present themselves as affordable, but unstable adhesive bonding, low-quality subpixel design, and unreliable software make them one of the most inconsistent smart TV choices. Number 27. Cona Smart TVs. Cona Smart TVs rely on a cost-cutting strategy where multiple internal components, panel, power board, and LED driver are sourced independently and assembled with minimal calibration. The most critical issue is their poor white point tuning, which creates persistent blue or green tints that cannot be fully corrected using the TV's settings. Their panels often have low native contrast, and Cona compensates by overboosting dynamic contrast through software. This produces black crush, where dark scenes lose detail and everything merges into a blob of shadow. Cona also uses slow eMMC storage, which wears out quickly. Once worn, apps refuse to open, updates fail, and the TV eventually becomes software locked. Their backlight modules use inconsistent LED batches, leading to early yellowing or patchy brightness. Wi-Fi antennas sit too close to the main power regulator, causing interference that leads to buffering and sudden drops in stream quality. Number 26. Emerson Smart TVs. Emerson Smart TVs are known for a particularly troublesome flaw: cheap diffuser plates that sit between the LEDs and the LCD panel. Over time, these plates warp slightly, creating bright circles called LED hotspots that become more visible each month. A deeper issue is the TV's archaic scaler chip, which struggles to convert 720p and 1080p content to native resolution without introducing jagged edges and moire patterns. Even basic HD channels look rough and poorly detailed. Their input processing chain also causes permanent audio delay, where the picture and sound drift out of sync because the video processor is too slow to keep pace. The Smart OS is extremely minimal, often missing mainstream apps, and has no promise of updates. Emerson also uses fragile plastic back panels that flex under mild pressure, occasionally pressing against internal ribbons and causing temporary vertical lines or washed-out blobs. The brand name may sound familiar from older electronics. Still, the modern Emerson TV line suffers from diffuser warping, scalar artifacts, and hardware-induced sync delays, making it one of the weakest in the budget category. Number 25. ProScan Smart TVs. ProScan Smart TVs come with a serious hidden drawback: their ultra-low contrast TN-based panels. Unlike IPS or VA panels, these TN variants have extremely narrow viewing angles, meaning colors shift dramatically with even slight head movement. Whites turn yellowish, blacks look bluish, and overall color accuracy collapses. The TV's internal processing pipeline is weak, relying on an old dual-core processor that struggles to render modern apps. User interfaces lag, loading screens stall, and streaming apps frequently crash due to memory exhaustion. The most concerning flaw is their poor EMC shielding, which allows electrical noise from the power board to interfere with the T-Con board. This produces flickering horizontal lines or temporary static when brightness shifts suddenly. Remote responsiveness is painfully slow because ProScan uses low-frequency IR receivers with narrow reception angles. The OS often uses uncertified app builds that break after global updates. Number 24. Vizio D series. Vizio's D series is one of the most problematic budget TV lines because it uses extremely low native contrast, IPS-derived panels with weak light-blocking layers. Dark scenes look gray and washed out regardless of settings. A hidden flaw is Vizio's slow frame buffer pipeline, which delays how quickly the TV processes motion transitions. This creates micro drag during sports and scrolling text, a jitter you cannot remove because the processor physically cannot keep up. Another issue is the D-series aggressive auto brightness limiter. Whenever a scene becomes bright, the TV reduces its own brightness to protect the low-end LED backlight. This makes 4K HDR feel dim and lifeless. The SmartCast system performs poorly on D-series hardware. The TV often locks up because the CPU lacks the resources to run animations, apps, and system processes simultaneously. Wi-Fi dropouts are common because Vizio places the antenna directly behind the LED power regulator in an area full of electromagnetic noise. Number 23. Vizio older SmartCast models. Older SmartCast Vizio TVs suffer from a unique architectural problem. They rely almost entirely on Google Cast-style streaming, pushing nearly all workload onto external devices rather than the TV itself. When app compatibility shifts, which it constantly does, many older SmartCast TVs lose access to key apps overnight. These models also use first-generation SmartCast firmware, known for memory leaks that gradually slow the TV until it becomes unresponsive. A single long 4K stream can tank performance because the system fails to clear RAM properly. The panels themselves use aging local dimming emulation, where the TV fakes dimming zones by rapidly adjusting backlight levels. This causes flicker, pulsing brightness, and pixel shimmering during dark scenes. Another flaw is the undercooled Wi-Fi chipset, which overheats during 4K streaming and throttles down, forcing the stream to drop resolution even on strong networks. Remote responsiveness is notoriously bad because early SmartCast remote receivers suffer from signal dropout at slight angles. These older Vizio TVs promise smart features, but their outdated cast-only software, overheating Wi-Fi chips, and unstable dimming emulation make them extremely unreliable today. Number 22. Hitachi Smart TVs. Today's Hitachi Smart TVs have almost no connection to the high-quality Hitachi electronics of the past. These modern sets are produced by licensed manufacturers using generic, low-cost LCD stacks. Their primary flaw is poor pixel voltage regulation, which causes subpixels to charge inconsistently. This results in faint, grid-like patterns across bright backgrounds, especially visible in menus or animated content. Their backlight system uses mixed-batch LED arrays, meaning some LEDs age faster than others. Within months, the screen develops uneven brightness bands or yellow-tinted patches. Hitachi's processing engine is extremely outdated. Upscaling 720p channels introduces ringing artifacts and outline halos around objects because the scaler uses a primitive nearest neighbor algorithm. The SmartOS often lacks security patches, leaving the TV vulnerable to older web-based exploits through built-in browsers and outdated app frameworks. Audio quality is also compromised by thin driver cones that distort whenever voices hit higher mid-range notes. Hitachi's modern smart TVs may carry a nostalgic brand name, but internally they rely on the cheapest possible components, weak voltage regulation, and outdated processing architecture. Number 21. DuraBrand Smart TVs. DuraBrand, a name once linked to Walmart's ultra-budget electronics, produces smart TVs that are among the most technically limited on the market. Their biggest flaw is the use of ultra-narrow color filter films, which physically block large portions of the color spectrum. Colors look pale, blues appear violet, and reds look brick-like because the filters simply cannot reproduce deeper tones. DuraBrand's motion performance is crippled by slow pixel switching, producing long transition trails behind moving objects. Even simple menu scrolls can show faint smearing. Their power boards rely on inexpensive MOSFETs that run hot, causing the TV to flicker or dim whenever power draw spikes occasionally. The built-in OS is extremely basic, often missing even major apps because the system cannot compile newer versions. Another hidden weakness is the cheap optical diffuser sheet, which warps over time and causes spotlighting, where bright circles appear across the screen. DuraBrand TVs might seem like an ultra-affordable solution, but their restricted color spectrum, heat-sensitive power boards, and warped diffuser plates make them one of the lowest quality smart TV options available. Number 20. Toshiba Fire TV. Toshiba's budget Fire TV models are built cheaply under licensing deals and differ greatly from older Toshiba engineering. Their biggest issue is aggressive brightness. Pumping the backlight jumps up and down wildly as scenes change because the panel cannot stabilize luminance. This makes movies look chaotic during transitions. The Fire OS layer is heavy, but these budget Toshiba use low-end quad-core chips that struggle to run it. This causes animation stutter, slow app switching, and frequent system reloads when RAM fills. Toshiba also uses slow response panels, creating soft, blurry motion even at 60 Hz. Fast-paced content becomes muddy and smeared. A surprising flaw is the HDCP handshake instability. External devices like Xbox, PlayStation, or Roku randomly show HDCP error until the TV is rebooted. The Wi-Fi module suffers from antenna attenuation because its placement is blocked by the metal shielding around the power supply, leading to buffering problems. Although the Fire TV interface is polished, Toshiba's budget hardware cannot support it, resulting in unstable brightness, poor motion, and persistent HDCP connection issues. Number 19. Sansui Smart TVs. Sansui Smart TVs rely heavily on low-cost VA panels with extremely narrow viewing angles. Even slight off-center viewing causes drastic color washout, making group watching nearly impossible. A hidden flaw is Sansui's poor black frame insertion implementation. Instead of improving clarity, it creates flicker bands that travel vertically during camera movement, a sign of misaligned BFI timing. The internal heat dissipation system is also weak because the TVs use thin plastic chassis with no metal reinforcement, causing heat pockets that degrade LED strips faster than expected. Their Smart OS is limited and runs on old M-Star chipsets, known for failing NAND storage sectors. As the storage wears out, apps begin to vanish, or the TV gets stuck on a boot screen requiring full resets. Audio uses micro speakers with almost no bass extension, producing hollow dialogue and sharp sibilance. Number 18. Skyworth Smart TVs. Skyworth Smart TVs have a surprising technical weakness: inconsistent backlight diffusion geometry. Because LED placement varies between batches, some units suffer from crosshatch shadows or diagonal brightness bands visible on gray screens. The panel's native contrast is low, and Skyworth compensates with aggressive dynamic contrast algorithms that cause sudden jumps in brightness during scene shifts, creating a distracting pulsing effect. Their Android TV implementation suffers from thermal memory throttling, where the internal storage slows down as it heats up. This leads to sluggish app loading, buffering in UI animations, and delayed remote response. Skyworth also uses budget-grade screen glass with weak anti-reflective coatings. Even indoor lights cause mirror-like glare, greatly reducing overall visibility. Audio systems rely on bare plastic sound chambers with no acoustic padding, producing flat, metallic sound. The HDMI input chain is equally inconsistent, occasionally losing signal lock when switching high refresh rate content from gaming consoles. Number 17. Seiki Smart TVs. Seiki Smart TVs rely on one of the least advanced LCD driver systems in the market. Their biggest flaw is ultra-slow pixel inversion control, causing alternating pixel pairs to switch voltage out of sync. This creates visible flicker patterns or faint checkerboard textures during light scenes. Seiki also uses single-layer diffusion sheets, which produce uneven light spread and prominent window shading, dark corners with bright centers. Over time, heat from LEDs warps these sheets, worsening uniformity. Their video processor is extremely weak, performing almost no motion estimation. As a result, fast content breaks into microblocks because the TV cannot align frames accurately. Sound quality is compromised by downfiring speakers in shallow cavities, causing muffled dialogue and rattling at mid-volume. The Smart OS is minimal and often locked to outdated app versions. Some apps simply stop working as streaming platforms update their requirements. Number 16. Sharp Budget Rebadged Models. Budget Sharp TVs sold today are typically rebadged units manufactured by contract factories, not real Sharp engineering. These sets use low refresh 50 to 60 Hz panels with poor gray-to-gray response, creating long motion streaks during fast scenes. Their internal processing pipeline runs on cut-down firmware that lacks proper color lookup tables. This means colors are not calibrated accurately, and many units show cyan-tinted whites or pale reds right out of the box. A hidden flaw comes from Sharp's compressed backlight rails, where LED strips are placed too close to heat-producing components. This shortens LED lifespan and leads to early dimming patches or sudden backlight failure. The Smart OS suffers from resource starvation because internal storage is tiny and easily overloaded by app cache. HDMI ERC often malfunctions due to inconsistent CEC signaling, causing audio cutouts when connected to soundbars. Modern Sharp budget TVs offer the brand name, but the rebadged components, miscalibrated color tables, and early LED aging make them disappointing and unreliable. Number 15. Sanyo Smart TVs. Sanyo smart TVs today are manufactured under licensing agreements and use older IPS-based panels that struggle with contrast and uniformity. Their blacks appear foggy, and bright sections bleed into dark areas due to low-quality light-blocking layers. A deep flaw is their frame timing jitter. The internal processor cannot keep a stable refresh cadence. This causes subtle judder even in basic 24 frames per second or 30 frames per second content. Sanyo's power supply design also uses low-capacity capacitors with wide failure margins. When they degrade, the TV experiences sudden brightness dips or momentary shutdowns. The Smart OS often runs on dual-core SoCs with outdated GPU modules, making interface animations stutter and apps slow to respond. Wi-Fi dropouts occur because the antenna is placed behind a dense plastic rib that blocks reception. Audio is flat due to tiny speakers that distort at conversational volume. Number 14. Curtis Smart TVs. Curtis Smart TVs face a severe limitation: extremely low luminance LED arrays, producing some of the dimmest screens in the budget category. Even maximum brightness struggles against basic room lighting, washing out the image completely. Their LCD panels often use older twisted pneumatic architectures, causing dramatic color shifting with minimal movement. Skin tones become yellow or green depending on the viewing angle. A unique flaw is Curtis's unshielded T-Con ribbon routing, where the cable passes near high noise components. This interference causes recurring horizontal ripples whenever brightness changes rapidly. The Smart OS is extremely minimal and frequently experiences memory exhaustion because the internal flash storage is too small for updates. Audio chambers are tiny, creating hollow, grainy sound with almost no bass. Curtis TVs also suffer from slow input syncing. When turning on a gaming console, the TV sometimes fails to handshake correctly and requires multiple reboots. Curtis TVs might be cheap, but the dim backlight, TN color distortion, ribbon interference, and OS instability make them a highly unreliable choice. Number 13. Naxa Smart TVs. Naxa Smart TVs are known for one major architectural weakness: their outdated AD conversion chain. When converting analog or compressed digital sources, the TV introduces color, noise, and grain, even in modern HDMI content. This happens because the signal passes through a cheap intermediate scaler. The LCD panels use low uniformity films, leading to clouding patches across the screen. When brightness increases, these patches become more visible, especially on gray backgrounds. Naxa's backlight also uses low-frequency dimming, producing noticeable flicker during menu transitions. The Smart OS is extremely limited, based on an older Linux fork with no access to mainstream streaming stores. Many apps have to be sideloaded and run poorly. The build quality is weak, the frame flexes easily, and pressure on the bezel can temporarily distort the picture. Audio is flat and sharp, lacking warmth because the speakers operate without internal dampening material. Overall, Naxa TVs struggle due to their outdated scaler, poor uniformity, flicker-prone backlight, and limited app ecosystem. Number 12. Supersonic Smart TVs. Supersonic Smart TVs use retrofit LCD modules, meant originally for computer monitors. These modules lack modern motion compensation, causing severe stutter during any 24 frames per second content. Movies look unnatural and jittery. The LED arrays inside are extremely low grade and often run at mismatched brightness levels. This produces a checkerboard glow effect in dark scenes. A severe hidden flaw is the underpowered voltage stabilizer, which causes image vibration when the screen displays bright whites. It looks like the entire picture is humming or trembling. The Smart OS is nearly bare bones and often incompatible with streaming apps. Even supported apps buffer frequently due to weak processing power. The TV's plastic chassis is thin and prone to panel pressure marks. Simply adjusting the angle can produce bright spots or temporary discoloration. Supersonic's audio system uses linear drivers with no chamber, delivering sharp, fatiguing sound. The combination of panel pressure sensitivity, trembling whites, mismatched LED arrays, and weak OS support makes Supersonic one of the most problematic smart TV brands today. Number 11. Viore Smart TVs. Viore Smart TVs suffer from poor LCD cell alignment, meaning the liquid crystals don't uniformly rotate when voltage is applied. This causes shimmering textures and uneven color transitions, especially in pastel backgrounds. The LED backlight uses cheap reflector cups, which lose reflectivity over time. Within months, the screen develops dark arches or bright blotches near the edges. Fiori's processing unit is extremely outdated, resulting in limited upscaling ability. 1080p sources look soft, and 720p channels show blockiness around edges. A hidden flaw is the loose pressure fit connectors, which can shift slightly during temperature changes, causing momentary flashes or static lines. The Smart OS is poorly supported, often running older versions of apps with no updates. Some apps freeze due to a lack of GPU acceleration. Number 10. iFalcon Smart TVs. iFalcon, TCL's budget sub-brand, suffers from a critical flaw: highly compressed color mapping, meaning the TV aggressively compresses color gradients to reduce processing load. This produces visible banding in skies, shadows, and skin tones. The panels typically use low-tier VA modules with inconsistent black levels. Certain patches appear darker than others due to uneven liquid crystal response. A hidden problem is the heat-sensitive mainboard design, where the SoC reaches high temperatures under Android TV. Overheating triggers throttling, causing frozen frames, sluggish menus, and sudden app closures. Their Wi-Fi antennas use narrowband chips that struggle with 5 GHz networks, causing buffering even when the router is close. Backlight blooming is intense because of minimal diffusion layers, producing halos around bright objects. HDMI ARC often fails due to unstable CEC commands, requiring frequent device resets. Number 9. Eco Smart TVs. Eco Smart TVs are infamous for one hidden flaw most buyers never notice at first: their unstable backlight power rail. Instead of using a proper constant current LED driver, EKO uses a simplified circuit that fluctuates under load. As brightness changes, the LEDs briefly over or underdrive, creating visible breathing. The screen subtly brightens and darkens as scenes shift. The panel tech is also extremely low-end, with sub 60% sRGB coverage, making colors look washed out and lifeless, especially reds and deep blues. Motion handling is another major problem. EKO's processor performs zero motion interpolation, and the response time is sluggish, leading to heavy trailing behind moving objects. The Smart OS is a heavily stripped-down Linux-based interface that feels outdated, lacks major apps, and receives almost no updates. Wi-Fi performance is weak because the antenna sits behind a tightly shielded metal bracket, causing signal dropouts even if the router is in the same room. Number 8. Belmont Smart TVs. Belmont Smart TVs use low-grade open-cell LCD panels that lack proper lamination, leading to severe light leakage around the edges and corners. When watching dark content, the entire frame glows with uneven gray patches. A major hidden issue is their low-cost timing controller, which cannot maintain stable pixel voltage. This causes shimmering and smooth gradients, giving skies and shadows a grainy, unstable look. Belmont's internal mainboard uses an outdated SoC that struggles with even basic UI operations. App stores are extremely limited, and most apps buffer or crash because the CPU throttles under heat. Backlight reliability is weak due to poor heat dissipation. The LED strips often fail prematurely, creating vertical dim bars that slowly widen over months. Belmont also uses low-bandwidth HDMI ports that struggle with modern devices. HDR signals usually downshift to SDR because the TV cannot process the metadata. Belmont Smart TVs may seem inexpensive, but open-cell bleed, unstable T-Con voltage, overheating processors, and failing LED strips make them a risky investment. Number 7. Symphony Smart TVs. Symphony Smart TVs cut corners in nearly every internal component. The most damaging flaw is their unshielded power board, which emits electrical noise that interferes with both the audio circuit and T-Con communication lines. The result? Random flickers, faint horizontal lines, and static-like crackling in the speakers. The panels use older 6-bit color depth, relying on dithering to fake additional shades. This produces visible noise in gradients, banding in skin tones, and patchy transitions during animations. The Smart OS feels extremely outdated and lacks proper DRM certifications, meaning many major streaming platforms are unavailable or limited to low resolutions. Symphony's response time is also extremely slow, making sports and action nearly unwatchable as motion becomes a smeary blur. Build quality is fragile. The chassis flexes easily, and small pressure points create temporary white blotches on the display. Symphony TVs may look fine from a distance, but the electrical noise interference, 6-bit color limitation, OS restrictions, and fragile hardware make them a brand to avoid. Number 6. Blaupunkt Smart TVs. The Blaupunkt name once carried weight in audio tech, but today's budget Blaupunkt smart TVs are manufactured by contracted factories with very low-grade components. Their biggest flaw is an extremely weak image processor that cannot perform proper scaling. Even true 1080p content looks soft and artificially sharpened at the same time because the TV overuses edge enhancement filters to compensate. This creates a harsh, noisy image. The LED backlight system has inconsistent brightness, producing visible hotspots and shadowy zones. With time, these inconsistencies worsen due to uneven thermal expansion. Blaupunkt Smart OS receives almost no updates. Many models run outdated versions of Android that lack support for modern streaming codecs, forcing apps to downscale video to 480p or 720p. Audio disappoints due to hollow speaker enclosures. Even simple dialogue distorts at normal volume. Number 5. JVC Roku TV. While Roku software is excellent, the JVC budget hardware behind it is very weak. JVC's low-cost panels have notoriously poor local contrast, making blacks look charcoal gray and eliminating depth in dark scenes. A hidden issue is JVC's poor heat management. The main board sits close to the backlight driver without proper thermal shielding. After long use, the processor throttles, slowing down the Roku interface, lagging during navigation, and sometimes freezing during app launches. The panels use very narrow viewing angles, causing colors to shift dramatically even when sitting slightly off-center. Build quality is also inconsistent. Light pressure on the bezel can temporarily warp the panel and create bright spots. Although Roku OS is smooth, JVC equips these sets with minimal RAM, causing app switching delays and occasional forced restarts. The JVC badge may look trustworthy, but the weak contrast, heat-throttled processor, narrow angles, and RAM limitations make this one of the least impressive Roku TV variants. Number 4. Aiwa Smart TVs. Modern Aiwa Smart TVs share almost nothing with the classic audio brand. Today's units are built using generic ODM hardware with significant performance issues. Their biggest flaw is extremely slow backlight modulation, causing ghost flashes whenever bright objects move across darker backgrounds. This is especially visible in gaming or sports. The LCD layer itself has poor transparency, requiring the LEDs to run at higher output. This extra strain often leads to premature LED dimming or complete strip failure. Aiwa's image processor struggles with color accuracy. Reds look rusty, blues lean purple, and skin tones often appear pale or waxy. There's no proper color calibration available. The Smart OS is basic and lacks many apps, and firmware updates are extremely rare. Wi-Fi instability is common because the antenna is placed behind a metal shield plate, causing frequent buffering and random drops. Number 3. Kaishun Smart TVs. Kaishun Smart TVs look polished on the outside, but inside, they rely on ultra-low-grade BOE reject panels that failed quality checks for major brands and were resold cheaply. This leads to severe color non-uniformity, where one side of the screen may look warmer or greener than the other. A hidden structural flaw is Kaishun's unreinforced midframe, causing the panel to flex under heat. After long viewing sessions, the display may show temporary pressure marks, cloud patches, or faint vertical bars that slowly fade after cooling. Their backlight design uses unbalanced LED strings, causing uneven brightness distribution and significantly faster wear on one section of the strip. This is why many Kaishun TVs develop early dimming zones. Processing power is minimal, menu animations lag, apps freeze during multitasking, and the OS often reloads the home screen when switching sources. HDMI handshake issues are common, especially with consoles, leading to random black screens when the resolution changes. Number 2. Furion Smart TVs. Furion Smart TVs are designed mainly for RVs, but that specialization brings major hidden compromises. Their temperature-tolerant panels sacrifice contrast and brightness to survive heat, leaving the picture extremely dull and washed out compared to normal TVs. A major issue is Furion's voltage fluctuation sensitivity. RV power lines are not perfectly regulated, and Furion's internal power board lacks proper buffering. This leads to micro shutdowns, flickers, or momentary blackouts whenever the voltage dips or spikes. Motion performance is poor due to ultra-low refresh response, causing ghosting trails behind moving objects. The Smart OS is outdated and slow, with limited app support. Even basic apps crash, because the CPU throttles under warm cabin temperatures. The speakers are optimized for RV cavities, producing thin, sharp audio with almost no bass. Most importantly, the the TV's ventilation is insufficient when mounted inside cabinets. Heat buildup accelerates LED wear and can cause the display to yellow over time. Number 1. Pioneer Budget Roku Smart TVs. Modern Pioneer Budget Roku TVs are not true Pioneer engineering. They're rebranded units made by low-cost OEM factories. Their largest flaw is the weak global dimming algorithm, which crushes shadow detail and turns dark scenes into flat gray blocks. The panel's pixel structure uses low-contrast VA cells that suffer from heavy gamma shift. Simply leaning slightly left or right results in drastic color and brightness changes. Pioneer's mainboard is underpowered and paired with minimal RAM. Under Roku OS, this causes delayed navigation, app reloads, and occasional system freezes when switching between heavy apps like Netflix and YouTube. Backlight uniformity is poor due to sparse LED placement. Bright scenes reveal patchy hotspots and uneven glow across the display. HDR performance is especially weak. The TV cannot reach the brightness required for real HDR, so it tone maps everything incorrectly, making HDR content look worse than SDR. But don't worry, it's not all bad news. Some smart TVs are actually reliable, high quality, and built to last. They may not be the flashiest models, but they're the ones you can buy without regret, starting with number 10, Sony Bravia XR series. Sony's Bravia XR line is one of the few smart TV families where the engineering truly stands out. Unlike budget panels that rely on basic image processors, Sony uses the Cognitive XR processor, which analyzes contrast, color, motion, and clarity in real time, adjusting each zone independently to match how the human brain perceives detail. The panel quality is exceptional. Near perfect color calibration, deep blacks on XR OLED/QLED models, and incredibly smooth motion thanks to Sony's industry-leading XR Motion Clarity engine. Fast sports and camera pans stay sharp without the soap opera effect. Connectivity is future-proofed with HDMI 2.14K at 120 Hz, VRR, and ALLM. Audio is another strength. Sony's acoustic surface audio for OLED models vibrates the screen itself to project sound directly from the image area, creating a cinematic, immersive feel without external speakers. The Google TV OS runs smoothly, with wide app support and reliable updates. Number 9. LG OLED C Series. LG's C Series OLED lineup is widely considered the gold standard for home cinema, and for good reason. These TVs use self-emissive pixels, meaning each pixel can turn completely off to create perfect blacks with infinite contrast. This eliminates blooming, haloing, and light bleed, which are common in cheaper LED models. Color accuracy out of the box is outstanding, and the TVs support every major HDR format, Dolby Vision, HDR10, and HLG, making movies and streaming content incredibly vivid and lifelike. The Alpha 9 Gen AI processor intelligently sharpens textures, cleans noise, and enhances motion without over-processing. LG's WebOS is lightweight, fast, and regularly updated, keeping the TV secure and compatible with new apps. Despite being ultra-thin, LG's OLED panels are surprisingly durable due to improved heat dissipation layers and pixel shift protections. For anyone wanting a premium display for movies, sports, and gaming, the C Series delivers unmatched picture quality at a justified price. Number 8. Samsung Neo QLED. Samsung's Neo QLED lineup is a powerhouse for users who want OLED-level contrast without the risk of burn-in. Using mini LED technology, these TVs pack thousands of tiny LEDs behind the panel, allowing precise local dimming with minimal blooming and extraordinary brightness, perfect for well-lit rooms. The quantum matrix technology and neural quantum processor analyze scenes frame by frame, boosting clarity, sharpening textures, and enhancing HDR highlights without crushing shadow detail. Color performance is excellent thanks to Samsung's quantum dot layer, producing rich, vibrant colors that remain accurate across different lighting conditions. The wide viewing angles, thanks to special diffusion layers, help maintain color accuracy even when sitting off-center. Samsung's Tizen OS is smooth, well-organized, and supports all major apps, plus Samsung exclusive features like Multi-View and Smart Calibration Pro. Built with strong metal frames and efficient heat management, Neo QLED models last significantly longer than typical LED TVs. If you want maximum brightness, premium HDR performance, and long-term durability, Samsung's Neo QLED line is an outstanding investment. Number 7. Hisense U8 series. The Hisense U8 series has shocked the industry by delivering high-end performance at a mid-range price. Using mini LED backlighting with dense local dimming zones, the U8 series achieves excellent black levels, bright HDR highlights, and impressive contrast rare at this price point. Hisense's high-view engine boosts detail, enhances color accuracy, and stabilizes motion without introducing artifacts. The result is a crisp, cinema-quality picture. The U8 series supports Dolby Vision IQ, HDR10+, and IMAX Enhanced, making it extremely versatile for movies and streaming. Motion handling is strong, and audio also stands out thanks to a built-in 212 Dolby Atmos sound system, something hardly any competitor includes in this price bracket. Google TV OS runs smoothly and provides a clean, updated library of apps, plus Google Assistant integration. With aluminum build quality, high brightness levels, and exceptional HDR performance, the U8 series is one of the best value-for-money premium TVs available today. Number 6. TCL 6 Series QM8. TCL's 6 Series and QM8 premium models have completely changed the mid-range TV market, offering performance that rivals far more expensive brands. These displays use advanced mini-LED ultra backlighting with an exceptionally dense grid of individually controlled zones, giving them deep, precise contrast and brilliant HDR that very few televisions in this price category can match. The QM8, in particular, delivers extremely high peak brightness, often reaching the 2000 to 2500 nit range, which makes specular highlights, such as reflections, neon lighting, and daylight scenes look intense and lifelike even in brightly lit rooms. Colors remain rich and accurate thanks to TCL's Quantum Dot Enhancement layer, which expands the color gamut without oversaturation. TCL's AIPQ Engine Gen 3 further elevates image quality by analyzing each frame and applying scene-aware optimizations to textures, motion clarity, and color consistency. Gaming performance is exceptional as well, with support for 4K at high refresh rates, variable refresh technologies, and impressively low input lag that keeps gameplay responsive and fluid. Google TV runs smoothly due to TCL's stronger hardware configuration, and the premium metal frame adds durability along with a refined aesthetic. For buyers seeking high-end performance without premium brand pricing, the 6 Series and QM8 stand out as some of the smartest choices available. Number 5. Vizio P Series Quantum. The Vizio P Series Quantum is one of the strongest high-performance LED TVs available for users who want elite brightness and contrast without entering the ultra-premium price tier. Using full-array local dimming with dense backlight zones, the P Series achieves deep blacks, bright highlights, and outstanding shadow detail. The Quantum color system expands the color gamut dramatically, reaching near professional cinema coverage with rich reds, emerald greens, and vivid blues. The IQ Ultra processor analyzes each frame, boosting fine textures and improving motion with minimal artifacts. HDR performance is strong, with support for Dolby Vision, HDR10+, and HLG, ensuring compatibility with all major streaming platforms. The build quality is sturdy, with excellent heat dissipation and long-term reliability. Number 4. Panasonic OLED. Panasonic OLEDs are legendary worldwide, especially among filmmakers and colorists. Even though US availability is limited, these models are considered reference-grade displays because of Panasonic's uncompromising focus on picture accuracy. The HCX Pro AI processor delivers some of the industry's best color mapping, maintaining perfect gradients, natural skin tones, and exceptionally accurate hues across all brightness levels. Hollywood post-production studios frequently use Panasonic OLEDs as grading monitors because of this precision. Black levels are flawless thanks to OLED's self-lit pixel structure, with superior shadow detail retention that rivals and often surpasses other OLED brands. Panasonic also excels in thermal management. Special heat spreader layers allow higher sustained brightness without stressing the OLED panel, ideal for HDR content. HDR support is unmatched. Dolby Vision IQ, HDR10+, HLG photo, and excellent tone mapping. Motion handling is smooth and controlled, eliminating stutter without creating a soap opera effect. Build quality is extremely premium, with solid materials and long-term reliability. Number 3. Sharp Aquos Premium line. Sharp's genuine Japanese-engineered Aquos Premium line, not the budget rebadged models, represents some of Sharp's finest display technology. These models feature IGZO panels, a proprietary Sharp innovation that uses indium gallium zinc oxide transistors for superior pixel accuracy, higher brightness efficiency, and outstanding clarity. IGZO panels maintain exceptional sharpness in both still and moving images, making text, sports, and 4K detail incredibly crisp. Color reproduction is boosted by Sharp's quantum dot enhancement film, resulting in wide-gamut, reference-level color accuracy. The Aqua's Extreme engine processes every frame with fine-edge upscaling and adaptive contrast control, preserving texture even in challenging scenes. Brightness and contrast are excellent, and the backlight is engineered with advanced diffusion layers to minimize blooming and halos. The TV supports Dolby Vision and HDR10 with strong tone mapping, delivering bright, controlled highlights and rich dark scene detail. Build quality is impeccable, with rigid frames, strong heat management, and long-lasting LED arrays. Number 2. Samsung Frame TV. The Samsung Frame TV is built for people who want both aesthetics and high-end performance without sacrificing everyday usability. Unlike traditional TVs, the frame uses a refined QLED panel with Samsung's quantum dot color technology, allowing it to produce vibrant, accurate colors and strong brightness levels even in naturally lit rooms. What truly separates it from other lifestyle displays is Samsung's advanced anti-glare matte finish, which diffuses reflections so effectively that the screen resembles actual framed artwork when in art mode. The frame's One Connect box also enhances performance by relocating all processing hardware and ports into a separate hub, reducing heat buildup behind the panel and ensuring the display remains ultra-thin and reliable over years of use. Motion handling and upscaling are strengthened by Samsung's AI-powered processor, which cleans noise, sharpens textures, and maintains smooth motion during fast content. The customizable magnetic bezels allow the TV to blend seamlessly with home decor without any permanent modifications. While designed as an artistic centerpiece, the frame remains a premium entertainment display with strong HDR performance, excellent color consistency, and durable build quality, making it an exceptional choice for style-focused buyers who still demand performance. Number 1. Bang & Olufsen BioVision. Bang & Olufsen's BioVision line is considered one of the most luxurious and technically refined television families in the world, engineered for customers who expect flawless performance, unmatched design, and long-lasting durability. The new clean BioVision models incorporate top-tier OLED panels paired with B&O's proprietary video processing, delivering extraordinary clarity, near-perfect contrast, and rich cinematic colors that remain accurate in every lighting condition. What sets BioVision apart, however, is the craftsmanship surrounding the display. The chassis uses precision-milled aluminum, vibration-dampened internal structures, and acoustically tuned materials designed to eliminate distortion and enhance overall fidelity. Audio performance is on a completely different level compared to standard televisions. B&O integrates powerful multi-driver speaker systems with beamforming technology, creating room-filling sound that adapts to the viewer's position and the acoustics of the space. Smart features run smoothly, controlled by B&O's elegantly refined interface, which prioritizes responsiveness and reliability over unnecessary bloat. Even the heat management system is meticulously engineered to prolong panel lifespan and maintain consistent brightness over years of use. For viewers who want uncompromised picture quality, flawless sound, premium materials, and timeless Scandinavian design, BioVision remains one of the most elite and trustworthy television lines available today.